Hi, first grade. Welcome to your reading lesson or your CKLA lesson. Today is Tuesday, April 21st. Some things you might need in this lesson are just, as always, we're going to use paper and pencil. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and do that and go get those. And we will start with our sound spellings. Get ready. Ready, go. Ch. Ready, go. Sh. Ready, go. F. Ready, go. Ng. Ready, go. Qu. Ready, go. E. Ready, go. I. Ready, go. A. Ready, go. O. Ready, go. U. Ready, go. Ooh, like oops. Ready, go. Like look. Ready, go. Ow. Ready, go. Oi. Ready, go. Ready, go. R. Ready, go. Or. All right, nice job. Go ahead and take out a piece of paper, and I want to first have you repeat the spelling words after me. We have some new spelling words for the week. Number 1 is swimming. Go ahead and say swimming. Number 2 is rotten. If something is rotten, that means it's not good to eat. Number 3 is hidden. Number 4 is batter. If you're making cookies, you might first mix up the batter. Number 5 is shredded. So if cheese is shredded, that means you have shredded it and it's like in little pieces now. It's not a block of cheese. Number 6 is popping. Number 7 is nodded. And number 8 is our tricky word there. Please pause the video and write down your 8 new spelling words. Okay, so hopefully you wrote your spelling words, and remember that this is something you'll send to your teacher later, so put it aside in a safe spot. Okay, we're going to get into our lesson, and we have first a new spelling for the sound S. So we already know 2 spellings for the sound S. The first one is this one right here, just the letter S, like in sun. We know that this is the most common spelling for S, and I can see that in the power bar right here. So that's one that hopefully you learned in kindergarten, and you already know a lot. The next spelling we've learned at the beginning of first grade is SS. So SS can also say S, like in the word dress. And it's not as common. Its power bar is really small. So we don't use that one as much. Today we're going to talk about this one right here. So it's the letter C. The letter C can actually also make the sound S. And maybe you've seen this before, like in this word, scent. So again, this power bar is smaller, so it's not used as often, but it's still a really important spelling to know. And it's important to know that the letter C can also make this S sound. So we have a new rule for you. Okay, and the rule goes like this. So the letter C may soften or make the S sound before these letters, before the letter E, before an I, or before a Y. So if you see a letter C in a word and it's not making sense, then you can make it say the other sound that you know it says now. So it also says S. Super important as we keep it moving. And these 2 spellings we're not going to cover yet until the end of the unit. So don't look at these, it's a secret. So we have a spelling tree for today, again with these 3 spellings now that we know to spell the sound S. So on the bottom branch, it's the biggest branch because it's the most common spelling. We have the S branch. So I just want you to repeat these words after me. We're not going to sort them today. We're just going to repeat. Say the word snake. Good. Say sit. Good. Say sun. Now say song. I want you to think about where the S is in each of these words. Do you see that it's at the beginning? So again, this is the most common spelling of S, and it's the letter S, often found at the beginning of words or in the middle or end of words. So let's look at the next branch. This is the next common spelling of the sound S, and it's the letter C. Remember, it can also make the sound S. That's the new rule we learned today. So let's read these words together. Say sell, say scent, say pencil. Again, remember that C can make that sound before the letter E, like we see here, and also before the letter I, like we see over here. Okay, nice job. Next branch right here is the SS branch. Not as common, but still an important sound that makes, or a spelling that makes a sound S. So repeat these words after me. Say kiss, say dress. Yeah, I want you to think about what you notice about the SS spellings in these words. Good, so SS usually comes at the end of a word, and it's often after a short vowel sound like I or eh. Again, we're going to learn the rest of these spellings later in the unit, so we're going to learn CE and SE later. Okay, so we are going to read a story from the last unit. It's called In the Cave. You might remember it from Kate's book. And the first grade teachers were thinking that it would be fun to do a writing exercise over the course of the next few days so that everyone can practice their writing, since we usually do that in EL literacy, and we're not doing EL literacy videos. So we are going to be writing personal narratives. And what that means, personal means a story about yourself, and narrative is a story. So it's going to be a story about yourself. So we're going to read this story. Remember, Kate was the narrator in Kate's book, so all of her stories were personal narratives. So we're going to read this story as an example of a personal narrative, and then in the next few days, you're going to write your very own story or your very own personal narrative. So as I read this story, I want you to think about these things over here. First of all, the name of the tale or the name of the story. Who is in the story? Where and when did the story take place? And the next question is what? So what happened? And we could say the tale starts with, or in the beginning, in the middle, or next in the tale, and at the end of the tale. So at the very end. We're going to do some of this part together, and then some of this I'll have you do on your own and send to your teacher. Again, so listen for these story elements as I'm reading aloud to you. Okay, it's called In the Cave. When I went to visit with Nan, I was sad. I missed Mom and Dad. But Nan cheered me up and made things fun. Nan took me on hikes. The land I saw in the west was not at all like the land I am used to. Where I am from, things are green in the summer, and there are lots of trees. In the west, there are hills and red rocks, but not a lot of trees. In some spots, you can hike for a mile and not see one tree. Once, Nan and I were on a hike when it started to storm. Nan and I went into a cave so that we would not get wet. As we were standing there, I saw something shimmer in the dark. Nan, I said, pointing at the spot, what's that? Well, said Nan, let's have a look. We looked and saw something stuck in a crack in the rock. I grabbed it. It's a coin, I said. Well, I'll be, said Nan. I said, what sort of coin is it? Nan said, I can't tell. It looks like it could be made of silver. Then she said, I have a pal, Jack, who is an expert on coins. We can bring it to him tomorrow, and he will tell us what sort of coin it is. I dropped the coin in my pocket, and we went on with our hike. So hopefully you were listening and you heard who is in the story or the characters in the story. Here I go with my pen. I'm going to go back in the story and kind of underline the characters I see. So of course we know that we have Nan. I see the words mom and dad here, but they're not actually in the story. They were in the cave with Nan, so I'm not going to include them on our story map over here. So I want to think about when I went to visit with Nan. I know the character I is Kate, or the narrator I is Kate, because that's who's talking. So I can already write some characters in this who box. I can write Kate, and I can write Nan. Okay, the next question I want to answer is where. Okay, so the question is where, once again. Here's my pen. And let's go back and read right here. Nan took me on hikes. The land I saw in the west. Oh, in the west. So that's going to tell me where we are, in the west. So I'm just going to write, I don't need a whole sentence, I can just write west, or the west. And the next question is when, and I know from the whole story, or the whole reader called Kate's book, that it was during the summertime. I could also add more details, like during the day. Hold on, I could add more, okay, more details, like during the day, or I think that's all we could get from this story, is summer during the day. So now I want to leave these 3 boxes up to you to do. So I'm going to pause the video, and I want you to draw 3 rectangles on a piece of paper. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so on your paper, you can draw 3 rectangles like I did. And instead of writing all the words that are in this story map, I just want you to write B for beginning, M for middle, and E for end. So you should have beginning, middle, and end. This is an example of some words you can use, or some transition words, to talk about what happened in the beginning. So you could say first, next, last, So you should have at least 3 sentences on your paper that described what happened in this story or this personal narrative in the cave. And this is going to help you think about personal narratives. And when you're done, I also want you to think, what maybe could I write about? What could I write about as a personal narrative that would be a fun story that I want to work on for a couple days? So this is important. This is something you're going to send to your teacher. Remember, at least 3 sentences. Go ahead and pause the video, look back in the story, and think about what happened in the beginning, middle, end, and write it on your paper. Okay, friends, that's our lesson for today. Nice job. This was the first lesson in a new unit. So remember to send these 3 things to your teacher. We'd love to see a photo of your new spelling words. And if you can send a photo or video of yourself reading in the cave, we'd love to hear you read. And we want to see a photo of your story map. Remember those 3 sentences that tell what happened at the beginning, middle, and end. Okay, we're so proud of your hard work. Keep it up, friends. See you next time.